If I had to compare the final 2 weeks of this MLB season to anything, it would be the old frontier that gets romanticized in Kevin Costner movies, because we truly have a wild, wild west. Welcome to the Dugout. I'm your host, Joseph Silva, and on today's episode, we have 2 weeks to go in the baseball season here, and things are freaking chaotic for sure. We're going to break down the three closest races in Major League Baseball: the National League West, god damn it, the American League West, and the National League race for the final wild card. I'm going to break down the teams that are involved in this race. I'm going to tell you who I think is going to come out on top. And ultimately, you can laugh at me at the end of the next week when I'm inevitably wrong. But before we get started, if you're enjoying the content, go ahead and leave a like, subscribe to the Run the Play Network. Anthony's Thunder, defending NBA champions. My Dodgers, defending NBA champions. Phil's Lakers got Luka Doncic, and the Dallas Cowboys somehow look actually kind of good. Shout out Brandon Aubrey. If you subscribe to the Run the Play Network, your teams will have much more success. Or you can always not and risk it, but I wouldn't take that chance, especially with the NFL season underway. Now, we're going to start with my beloved Dodgers in the National League West here. For the greatest team of all time to be in a dogfight tells you how disappointing the season is for the Dodgers. But they are 2 games up on San Diego for a reason, and really, it starts and ends with this rotation, man. This rotation, we're doing everything since the Mookie Betts ovation, because that's a very convenient date for when things started turning around from this team. But since that ovation, this rotation is number 1 in team FIP, 3rd in team ERA, top 10 in team ERA, or in team innings pitched. This rotation is a dog. This is what everyone expected it to be. You're looking at everybody just delivering quality starts. The Cy Yamamoto campaign is back on. Blake Snell, I may not like your pitching philosophy, but you're a dog. Ohtani's doing great. Tyler Glasnow has taken a no-hitter into the 6th inning in 2 consecutive starts. Yes, I know he did not look good against the Giants, but he has been dominant. Even Emmett Sheehan is contributing very well. Clayton Kershaw, how can we forget, is incredible. Every pitcher in this rotation has just been phenomenal. They've been pitching deep into the games, which is really helping out the thing about this team that's bothering me and is gonna fucking kill me. But we will get to that in a second, because we have to talk about the offense. And there's a reason why I talked about the Mookie Betts ovation being a very convenient date here. Much like Trey Turner, Mookie Betts has exploded after his ovation he received from Dodger fans. We know he was struggling for sure through the summer, but he has been on fire since the ovation, because he is hitting .354 with 8 home runs, 30 RBIs, a .411 on base, a .583 slugging, good for a .994 OPS, and a .174 WRC plus, which is second on the team to, say it with me, Shohei Ohtani, who, by the way, since the ovation has been walking in 20% of his plate appearances. Nobody's messing with Ohtani, and for good reason. Looking at the rest of the lineup, Freddie Freeman's contributing. Yes, the depth isn't there like it was during the World Series run. Teoscar Hernandez still has not been great. Will Smith, we're going to see how the bone bruise is affecting his hand, but he's not really playing all that well in the second half. We're going to look at players like Andy Pajas, who's really turned it around with his 120 WRC plus over the same time. Michael Conforto, I swear to God, if this man gets any more at-bats, it's going to piss me off. But Alex Call is still out there in the outfield, and he's not much better, quite frankly. And Max Muncy is finally back to give this team some much-needed depth. So the lineup is not, the 2024 juggernaut, but it is still a very solid lineup that I think can carry a team through October. But the Achilles heel of this demigod of a team is unfortunately our bullpen. The bullpen has been awful this year. Tanner Scott has quickly became, and I don't say this lightly, my least favorite reliever of all time in a Dodger uniform. And yes, I understand the grand slam he gave up to Patrick Bailey was, way above the strike zone. It was a tremendous piece of hitting from Patrick Bailey, which I never thought I would say about the man, but here we are. And I understand, he's been unlucky and all this and this and this. Dude, he just doesn't have it this year. He has been far and away the worst acquisition for the team. And yes, I'm counting Michael Conforto in this. So yeah, Tanner Scott's not been good. Blake Trinan, hey dude, maybe work on your command instead of, drawing a little Charlie Kirk on your hat, and we can talk here, because his command has been erratic to say the least this season. Yes, I know the stuff still plays very well, but my God, dude, locate the fucking pitches. It's the same thing with Dustin May. I don't care if the pitch, goes all the way from LA to Orange County. If you can't control the thing, no one's going to swing at it. Michael Kopech, like the dude, my God, has he been injury prone this year. So we are left with Alex Vesia and Jack Dreyer as the two relievers I trust the most in this bullpen. And last night against Philadelphia, guess who blew the lead? Alex Vesia and Jack Dreyer. I am so tired. We can't count on anybody at this point here. I know, let's use Anthony Bonda as an opener to get Kyle Schwarber and Bryce Harper out. Home run walk. Way to go. There is not anyone in this bullpen I trust at all. If we are relying on Roki Sasaki to come back and save this bullpen, they're going to blow it in October. And it's the one glaring flaw that keeps me from saying, yes, the Dodgers are World Series contenders legitimately. No, they are not. But we'll see. Now, the team they're going up against is the San Diego Padres. They are the fire alarm that keeps chirping because they are a pain in my ass and I can't get rid of it. Because the Padres, they are only 2 games back, and I don't know how they're 2 games back, quite frankly. The offense is very hit or miss. You're looking at Jake Cronenworth with a 146 WRC+. Amazing. Laureano has been great since coming over from the Orioles, and Fernando Tatis Jr. is still doing Fernando Tatis Jr. things. We know this about him. However, 2 players that they're expecting to contribute in a major, major way have not been contributing. Manny Machado, 76 WRC+. You hate to see it, but you really hate to see it if you're a Padres fan because that man is supposed to be contributing. He's doing jack all for you in the past month. Luis Arias, next Tony Gwynn, my ass, 74 WRC+. I don't even think Tony Gwynn's ever put up a 74 WRC+ in like a 2-game stretch in his entire career. He's not contributing. Jackson Merrill has been very injured this year, and even when he's on the field, he has been an average hitter at best. Ryan O'Hearn has been okay manning first base in the DH spot for the Padres. So, yeah, they are very top-heavy in this lineup. I mean, don't get me wrong. It's a very good top-heavy, but still they do not get consistent production throughout. So I don't trust their lineup in a big setting, especially with the division on the line. The rotation, it's Nick Pivetta and some dudes. Pivetta has been incredible this season, especially in the second half. He's got a 2.47 ERA. Everyone else in that rotation, 4.54 ERA. I'm so sick of hearing, oh, Dylan Cease is the unluckiest pitcher in the league. My dude, you strike out like 12 batters per 9. Just strike out a motherfucker, and you don't get in these situations here. But again, the big thing with him is the walks, and he has a walk problem this year. Yu Darvish, oh my God. Dodger legend, he is not. Padre legend, he quickly is not becoming because he is struggling mightily this year. That ERA is a lot closer to a 6 than you would like it to be, especially with the fact that he's under contract for another 4 years. Michael King, he's back. No, he's not. He's hurt again. So really, who do you trust in this Padres rotation here? Pivetta, maybe you get lucky with Cease. They just do not have it whatsoever. And yes, I understand. They have the Super Bullpen. And the Super Bullpen is very sexy. We all love Super Bullpens here. And they are very, very great, despite the injury to Jason Adam, which is a huge, huge blow because he really was the one that bridged the gap to Robert Suarez. Adrian Morejon has stepped into that role. He's done a very nice job. But, he was much better deployed in his role than the one he currently has. We'll see how it's going on that one. And if we're looking at the remaining series for these teams, the edge definitely favors the Padres because the Dodgers are playing the Phillies right now. And after that, they have the San Francisco Giants, who we will talk about in a little bit. The Arizona Diamondbacks, who we will talk about in a little bit. And say with me, the Seattle Mariners, who we will talk about in a little bit. Meanwhile, the Padres have to play the White Sox, which is a free 3 wins right there, even though they've been a little bit sneaky in the second half, not going to lie. They have to play the league-leading Brewers, which good luck with that. And then they have to play the Diamondbacks. So can they make up 2 games in this stretch? I don't think so. It's just I don't trust the rotation. I don't trust, Machado to turn it around and start getting it going. I don't trust Arias to turn it around and start getting it going here. We don't know if Jackson Merrill is going to hit that almost took Rookie of the Year from Paul Skeens type hype. They just have a lot more questions than my Dodgers. So ultimately, I'm going to go with the Dodgers as NL West champions. But before we talk about who the Dodgers might ultimately end up facing in the wild card series, we have to hear a word from our sponsor.
All right, boys, this is completely on me. This is Anthony. I deleted the Boom ad on accident. Use code RTP for a risk-free bet up to $100. Shout out Joseph. I am so sorry. L-Mans. Everyone comment L-Mans.
Now, the final wild card spot, no one wants to win it. I'm not joking here. They're all like bunched together like grapes on the vine, because they are all right there, and I can honestly see any of these teams taking it. Let's start with the team that currently holds the spot, which is a team that has given their 2007 counterparts a run for their money in terms of biggest fucking collapse in this team's history. And that's saying a lot. I'm, of course, talking about the New York Mets. Lol Mets is back, baby. Now, let's start with the good. The offense has been incredible in the second half. All the stats I'm going to talk about now are from the second half onwards, because they are third in runs scored, first in team WRC+. You know how good Soto is. You know how good Pete Alonso is. You know how good Francisco Lindor is. But did you expect Brett Beatty and Mark Vientos to be better hitters than Francisco Lindor and Pete Alonso in the second half? I sure as hell didn't. Yet this is the reality we live in. They are incredible, incredible hitters. But unfortunately, their pitching staff is just a bunch of little leaguers at this point. And you think I'm joking, but I'm really not. They're bottom 10 in starter ERA and starter FIP. Bottom 10 in ERA and FIP for the bullpen. Ryan Helsley, ain't it, dude. Tyler Rogers and Edwin Diaz are the only two relievers you really trust in that bullpen at this point. Everyone else, good luck. The rotation, Kodai Senga had to go down to work on his mechanics. Clay Holmes is tired. Frankie Montas is tired. Everyone in this rotation is just tired. You don't really have that dependable number one anymore, and you can see it as no one's pitching deep in the games. No one's limiting hard contact. It is a hard, hard thing to win with two pitchers that you really trust. So this Mets team, this is why they've been blowing it, is because they cannot pitch worth a damn, despite how good this offense is. Now, the team currently closest to them is a team that sold it very heavily at the deadline, yet they find themselves in contention. And that's thanks to two men, Zach Gallen and Nabil Crismatt. Yes, Nabil Crismatt. This is the kind of season we're in right now. They have been a great 1-2 punch at the top of the rotation. They both have ERAs under 3. Gallen has figured it out fantastic. Crismatt's come out of nowhere to dominate in the second half. And they really complemented, surprise, surprise, a very good offense. Yes, you could trade away Eugenio Suarez. You could trade away Josh Naylor. But turns out, you have Blaze Alexander. And Blaze Alexander, somehow, is a really fucking good hitter. Who would have guessed it? He's been incredible throughout. Geraldo Perdomo, obviously the most underrated player on the season, because no one's really talking about the fact that he has been a great hitter plus defender at shortstop. He is easily a top 10 shortstop in the game this year. And that's saying something, because that class is loaded. And of course, you got Corbin Carroll. You got Ketel Marte. You know what they're going to give you. Gabriel Moreno. I hate that man. He's the new Dodger killer, but you know what he's going to give you. This offense is so good. They have two reliable starting pitchers. They have a bullpen that is bad. We all know the bullpen has been bad. This is always the issue with the Diamondbacks. That's what held them back through the season, what really held them in preseason predictions as well. So, yeah, it's going to be a little bit difficult for them. But if you let them in the playoffs, I sure as hell do not want to face this team in a wild card series. I will tell you that much. Now, the team I really don't want to face in the wild card series, because it's not good for the old Thumper right here, is the San Francisco Giants. That division series in 21 took years off my life. I don't want to do that again. Luckily, the Giants are that one meme, pure distilled mid. Yet they are in contention for a wild card spot. The third wild card was a mistake. Changed my mind. But, the offense is starting to kick into gear here. As you know who the heavy hitters are in this lineup, but Rafael Devers has finally turned it around in the second half. He has a very good WRC plus. You know what you're getting out of Jung-Hoo Lee. You know what you're getting out of Matt Chapman. Adames has still been disappointing, but he's starting to turn it around a little bit more. Elio Ramos, yeah, that guy probably shouldn't be leading off for you anymore, but that's besides the point. Offense, good, not great. Pitching staff, where did this Justin Verlander come from? I'm serious. I don't like giving Ben Verlander credit, but he might have been onto something here because Justin has been very good in the second half. ERA under 3. Logan Webb, you know how good he is. He, if it was up to me, would finish second in Cy Young voting behind Paul Skeens this year. He's been that good of a pitcher. Robbie Ray, I know he's an all-star, but he's not having the best second half, especially by the standards he set in the first half. And then, Kai Wei Tang has been okay as well. But really, you're relying on Webb and Verlander to dominate, and they are doing just that for this Giants team. And then the bullpen, again, it's a good bullpen, but it's not the best bullpen. I mean, if only they had, a Camilo Doval, a Tyler Rogers, or heaven forbid, Randy Rodriguez. But I know that last one's out of their control. I know he's getting Tommy John surgery. But, man, they're missing that man badly right now because this team needs just an alpha in this bullpen to really solidify them as contenders here. And we'll see. We'll talk about the schedules when we get there, but don't be surprised if the Giants fall ass backwards into a playoff spot. And if the Giants fall ass backwards into a playoff spot, the Cincinnati Reds just trip and fall down the mine shaft and end up, at a plot of diamonds. Because this Reds team, on paper, should not be anywhere close to a playoff spot. Yet here we are. Because let's look at it for the Reds. Offense, bad. Rotation, good, not great. Let's be honest here. As Hunter Green has looked okay since coming back. Everyone else has been, aside from Brady Singer, has been just bad. The offense. Fun fact, I knew this, but I didn't want to internalize this until I started doing research for this video. Since August, the entire month of August, we are now halfway through September. Elly De La Cruz has hit 0 home runs. That's impossible. That's like hearing, Shaquille O'Neal hit a 3. Like, yeah, the video exists. I know it's out there, but I just don't believe what my own eyes are seeing. It's against everything in his own game, and he's like the one good hitter they have in this lineup. And the bullpen is somehow worse than the Mets bullpen. It baffles me. Yet here they are, 2.5 games out of a wild card spot. It'd be really funny if this team made the wild card. But I know what would happen is it'd be really funny, and then I would cry because this team would knock out the Dodgers. So get them a hell away from this wild card spot. But, they do have an easy schedule. They have the Cubs, Pirates, and Brewers as their remaining series to be played. The Giants have the Dodgers, Cardinals, and Rockies. Diamondbacks have the Phillies, Dodgers, and Padres. Good luck on that one. And then the Mets. Damn it, I did not write down the Mets' last schedule. But let's see. I think the Diamondbacks are going to get this done. Because they are the most complete team of the 4 remaining. As I think the Diamondbacks will come in and get the 3rd and final wild card spot. Let's see for sure. And finally, we have the AL West. And ding dong, the Wicked Witch is finally dead. Because the Seattle Mariners are leading the division this late into the season. I'm not going to get fooled, though. I saw this in 2022, and then I have to see that stupid Alex Bregman, I guess we'll never know video, and then he gets sprayed with fucking champagne. I'm sick of it, okay? So I'm not going to call the Astros dead just yet, but we will talk about them in a second. Because Seattle, I've been beating this drum. It's inverse of what we thought they were going to be this year. They have a top 10 offense in the league. Julio Rodriguez is a second half machine. Like, I don't know if we need to move T-Mobile Park all the way down to Tijuana, Mexico or somewhere warm because he only plays well when it's warm, apparently. It's the weirdest fucking thing I've ever seen. Jorge Polanco, excellent. Cal Raleigh, yes, he's not been, MVP dumper, but he's still been, the big dumper this year, if that makes sense. He's still got a 136 WRC plus in the second half. He just tied Ken Griffey Jr.'s single season home run for the Mariners. He's got a week and a half to go. Incredible season from him. everyone in this Mariners lineup is incredible, even if Eugenio Suarez, hasn't been the best hitter since coming to the team. But I digress. The rotation, it's good, I want to say. I mean, the talent is there. We know this. But, Brian Wu and Logan Gilbert are pitching up to their standards that we have set for them. Luis Castillo and George Kirby have not. So really, I don't know what to make of this rotation. As I do trust Gilbert and Wu in a 3-game wildcard series, but once you have to, pitch Luis Castillo and you have to pitch George Kirby, that's when things get a little more iffy for me. And that's despite the fact that this Mariners bullpen has been very, very good this year. Is Andres Munoz, Gabe Spire, dogs. Don't look at the ERA for Matt Brash. I'm saying this is like the number one Matt Brash fan on the internet. But Matt Brash has been incredible. Look at his FIP and his strikeout stuff. Ooh, he's a good one. So those three at the back of the bullpen, I think that's the key to success for the Mariners, is just get 6 innings out of your starters and then hand it off to Spire, Brash, and Munoz. I don't see how you score runs if this team has a lead going into the 7th. But we'll see. This Mariners team, they're in first for a reason, and I trust them in first. But if we look at the Astros, they're just average. Like, Jordan came back and he was mashing. And then his ankles are not supposed to do that, especially when you're running to home. Ugh. It sucks because, Cam Smith has fallen off a cliff in the second half. Jose Altuve is hitting 204 in the second half. That is bad. That is really bad, especially when that's Altuve's calling card. Ooh, that is rough to see. Which is really surprising because Christian Walker has turned it around. Pena is still playing at a high level. Carlos Correa has been very impressive since coming back to Houston. It's just, the two big pieces they want to contribute are either injured or hitting 204 on the season. If you're looking at the pitching staff, this team misses Josh Hader in the worst possible way. They miss him so bad. Because Enio De Los Santos, Brian King, AJ Blah. Great trio in the back of the bullpen. But, if you move them down like a spot or two, that's when this bullpen becomes very good because everyone else in that pen, besides those three, are either like okay to bad. And those guys, unfortunately, have to eat a lot of innings because when we talk about the rotation here in a second, yeah, they have to be trusted with a lot more when, Hunter Brown is not pitching. I don't really necessarily trust just what is an average bullpen. And if we're going to the rotation, Hunter Brown has been incredible. We know this. Jason Alexander has come out of basically nowhere. And he's not going blow for blow with Hunter Brown, but he's pretty damn close for going blow to blow with Hunter Brown. The problem is, and yes, I know, Framber Valdez crossed up his catcher on purpose. That happened. But Framber Valdez is also a very bad pitcher now. They chose him over Kyle Tucker, by the way. Yeah, this rotation, I'm not expecting, like a Dodgers level rotation, but I don't know. I don't want your 3-starter to have an ERA in the second half that starts with a 6 or have a bad relationship with his catcher, but that's here where we are here. And finally, the team that just will not go away, the Texas Rangers. What is there to say about the Rangers? Marcus Semien has been bad. Corey Seager was okay for most of the year, got hot, and then had to have his appendix removed. We'll see when he comes back, but the timetable does not look great this year. Nathan Eovaldi, on a rate basis, was having one of the greatest starting pitching seasons of all time. He's not coming back this year. The bullpen has been okay, not necessarily the best here, but by some divine miracle, they're still in this thing. They're 3.5 back of Seattle, and I could see them making a run here. Merrill Kelly and Jack Leiter are awesome. Jacob deGrom, he's not what he was in the first half, but, he's still pitching to a very good ERA. He's been electric for sure. And then the offense. Corey Seager, come back. And I'm not saying this as a Dodgers fan who really wants a shortstop. No, I'm saying this as a Rangers enjoyer because, yeah, this team needs Corey Seager in the worst possible way. Surprisingly, Jock Peterson has turned it around in the second half. He has a 119 WRC plus in the second half. Wyatt Langford has been incredible for Texas. But really, after that, they don't have a lot of options in this lineup. They're really relying on the pitching, and they need Corey Seager back in the worst possible way. Again, they're kind of like the Reds. I don't really expect much from them. On paper, they don't look that great, but it'd be really funny if they made it in the playoffs, and I really want them to because I picked them to win the AL pennant this year, and I want you guys to believe me when I say I actually know ball here. Now, if we're looking at the remaining series, the Rangers, they have it the easiest of everyone. They have the Marlins, the Twins, and the Guardians. And this is not your mama's Marlins, by the way. Peter Bendix has really revolutionized this team. They're playing 500 ball. Don't be surprised if the Marlins give them hell. But, the Houston Astros have to play the Mariners, the A's, and the Angels. Astros have a very easy schedule. And then the Mariners, they have the Astros, the Rockies, and the Dodgers. Each team has that one series on the schedule where they should be beaten up on everybody. It's just how do the Astros and Mariners play each other? How do the Mariners play the Dodgers in that final series of the year is going to be very telling. Oh, it is going to be an electric race here. But I'm bitter, okay? I'm saying the Mariners. I understand. We have proclaimed the death of the Astros dynasty many times, and yet here they are. But I truly believe this is the Mariners' year to take the AL West and really make a step forward and really go for it in the playoffs. But we'll touch more on that when I do my playoff predictions. I think the Mariners win the West, and the Astros get the final wild card. But regardless, it is going to be a fun final week and a half of baseball, and I hope you guys are tuned in because it's going to be a crazy ending for sure. But if you enjoyed the content, go ahead and leave a like. Leave a comment below. How wrong am I? Am I too much of a Dodgers homer? And more importantly, Aaron Judge or Cal Raleigh, who's your AL MVP? Let me know in the comments down below. And don't forget on the way out, play ball.